Okay, we're live. What's up, y'all? Aaron here from the MEC. Can't tell if there's a delay. Awesome. Check, check. Shane, can you hear me? Is there a delay on my end?
No, you're good. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, bet. I thought there was a delay for a second. So
maybe on your end.
So we're live now. I'm gonna give people a chance. Does it like a delay to you?
No, I can hear you just fine.
Dang. It's a delay. I think I'm delayed. My Wi-Fi is delayed. Let me see if I can fix this. Hold on. Okay.
Real quick. What up, Aro?
Here we go.
Bufo, my guy.
Hello, hello. Okay. I think I'm back good. Oh, okay. It's in real time with you now. Okay. I switched Wi-Fi's that I'm on. Okay. Right. What's up, Cloud9? What's up? King Monday?
King Monday.
Yeah. All right. Oh, that's a king. Oh, that makes sense. Awesome. Okay, what's up, guys? I'm Aaron Knight from the MEC, that is Music Entrepreneur Club. You know, we go live every Monday and Thursday. Typically, Dame is on Monday. And Payne is on Thursday, but I do the first Monday of every month. So for those of you who don't know, I'm the newest member of the MEC. My name is Aaron Knight. I am an artist manager. I am a booking agent and I own a booking agency. And then I also own an anti-label / creative agency where we do everything that a label does instead, but don't take the masters of the artist. And then we also turn all of our artists into influencers. So yeah, if you have some friends who need managers or who are interested in management, this is the one for you. You guys need to go ahead, text them, be like, yo, you got to get on BeatStars Live right now because I'm going to be talking to my friend Chene today. Today is going to be special because I know we didn't get a flyer out. I'm sorry, y'all. Today's going to be special because Chene is somebody who I feel like is doing some really interesting stuff as an up and coming manager. I know a lot of times we bring people on here as like these huge established whatever, and people are like, that's cool, but they're not accessible. Chene is extremely accessible. He has some industry success already, but he's developing this really cool app that I really want you guys to hear about. So again, tell your friends to hop in. This is going to be a great live. Chene, I'm going to let you take it away if you want to give an intro of yourself. But again, y'all, it's beatstars.live. So just tweet that out, text it out, send it out really quickly. People can hop on and watch this with you.
Yo, Aaron, you forgot one title for yourself, though. Queen. You are definitely one of the music industry's queens.
Thank you.
I was so excited when you joined the MEC. But everybody that I see in the chat, I know a lot of you guys. I've been a member of the MEC going back to 2016 when Dame had started it. Dame was always somebody I looked up to, somebody I consider a mentor and a role model. And it was just 20 of us meeting on Zoom every week. And that, to me, to see how much this platform's grown and like what it's become is just so inspiring. And like, I'm still grateful. I still tap in every single Monday as long as I can. Probably only missed 2 sessions over the last 2 years. I worked on the collab for the Crown contest for the MEC last year, right at the start of the pandemic. I was running all the back-end approvals, making sure everybody did everything correctly. And, you know, it's a really amazing community to be a part of. And thank you for having me on today. Like, it's truly
okay. So y'all see that the MEC has a ton of real world value. Chene joined ages ago when it first started and then has moved on up, is helping out with things. And now I'm interviewing him because, again, I found him to be fascinating. He was a trooper. He hopped in last minute because my original guest bailed. But this is not to say that you're a backup. It just meant that this is what we were supposed to be talking about today. So I'm really encouraged by you being here, but I'm going to not interrupt your intro because you haven't given it yet. Go ahead and give your intro.
All right. So everybody, my name is pronounced Chene. I know it's spelled funny, but I run a company called LIB MGMT. I started LIB at the beginning of the pandemic. Honestly, it was like right after the Collab for the Crown contest ended. And it's an idea I've had and I've been working through for probably 4 years. LIB MGMT originally stood for Liberation Management, and the brand and the concept are aligned in liberating artists from the traditional constraints of the industry. And I'm building it off a lot of narratives and the things that we hear from artists all the time, like, I need a manager, is one of the most common statements that we hear. Dame and a lot of other industry professionals would probably respond to you with, I don't need a manager. You don't need a manager until you have something to manage. And artists kind of get that confused, like where there's a disconnect there, right? Because they don't understand what that means. What is having something to manage? How do you even get to that point? So I looked at that as a unique opportunity to help fill a serious need in the industry. And that need is providing all artists essentially an application that allows them to manage themselves and also guides them through the process of building a career in this industry. So we're going to dive a little more into that, but that's my quick intro. Like I said, I've been here for a long time. I'm super honored to be here today. Thank you for reaching out, Aaron. And, let's go.
Okay, so Chene, I'm so glad you led with explaining the concept too, because I do feel like a lot of times artists get frustrated when you or Dame or I respond with that same thing. But I don't typically answer DMs, so don't DM me. All right. But this artist DM'd me and he was super sweet. He had been following the MEC for some months since I joined and was like, man, I'm just learning all of this. I'm super interested in you managing me. And I was like, hey, I'm working myself out of management. Like currently, right now, in this very moment, I'm sitting on set at a music video shoot that has been from hell. Like we just got here. My artist was supposed to land in Atlanta or Miami at 9 p.m. last night and we just
Oh,
got
wow.
here. It's 3 p.m. We just got. Her luggage got lost. She ended up having to fly to LA, then Dallas, then Atlanta. It was crazy. I do not enjoy this life anymore. You know what I'm saying? I
The
just
grind.
don't. I don't, and it's cool. This is great. I love her, but this life is not for everybody. But in order to do this life, I have to be properly compensated, right? So for me to be all over the place all the time, putting out fires perpetually, I need to be paid well. And most artists can't afford that. And the smaller that you are, the smaller your team is, which means the more expansive a lot of times and more complex that your problems are, which means you need a complex problem solver or a system in place to solve your problems, correct? Okay,
Right.
so I'm getting to a point, y'all. I'm not just tirading. So, what Chene has decided to do is to create a solution for the feedback loop that artists constantly hear. I can't get a manager, but I do need to go to the next level of my career.
Right.
What I have found is that most artists don't know what they need to be consistent in to develop an actual growth pattern in their career. They know they can try this thing. They hear about TikTok. They know that they need to post an Instagram reel. They know that they need to pitch their music on Spotify after they upload. But really and truly, people make it seem like it's this mystical thing that you have to do to become a successful artist. So, the reason that I find Chene so fascinating, y'all, is because Chene has created a way to duplicate the process for artists and create a solution for you to say, okay, I may not be making much money or any money right now, but in 8 months, I can make money, prove where I've grown from, and then go attract a real life, real world manager. So, Chene,
Yep.
go ahead, let them know about what you have going on, and then we can start. I'm cool to start taking questions from like a few questions just so people can have an understanding of the application. But I want you to explain the concept how you did to me when we first got on the Zoom about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, those narratives of like when artists say I need a manager, what they're really asking for is they're actually saying I need help, right? They don't know where to go, they don't know how to get there. They're lost. They're kind of like lost puppies, and it's like I I resonate with that. I feel for that. So I tried to look at how can you build something that truly does help them. That's not, there's been so many tools and different things that come out. Like you can look at Hit Piece a week ago that totally demolished the industry. And I still don't know if it was just sheer stupidity or what it was, but there's been a lot of tools and platforms that have come out, and there's so many scammers out there. And from day one, we really wanted to build a platform that built trust and credibility back into the industry for the artist, because the record label has been vilified, right? Everybody thinks that a record deal is just going to screw you and like it's a bad thing. So artists think a manager is the replacement for that, somebody to do all the industry work for them, to help them figure it out. And then a lot of artists just don't realize that, like you said, it's, managers are taking 20% of the gross revenue. And that's not that much, especially when you're not profitable yet. That's not, we all have bills to pay too. We need to be working. We need to be compensated well. So how can we get more artists to a point of profitability, a point of having a successful career? And it's actually funny because you guys talked about the 7 million artists actively distributing music on Spotify on the podcast. That is one of the statistics I really look at as an example of where we need to bridge the gap, because there are 7 million total artists actively distributing music to DSPs. And that was at the end of 2020. It's now estimated to be over 9 million total. And that number has grown from 3.5 million at the end of 2018. That is a massive increase in the total market. And that's also a lot of saturation. It's really hard to stand out amongst the crowd. So there's also only 13,400 artists is the number that people like to throw out that are making $50,000 a year or more from Spotify. Now that's just Spotify.
You said 13,400.
Yes,
Go
total.
back. So
That's making $50K a year or more in streaming royalties directly from Spotify. That is a fraction of a percentage of that total number of artists actually distributing their music. And that to me represents the gap, right? Now, Dan Runcie from Trapital, who's amazing, he had a really good thread on the fact that that's actually a solid percentage when compared to other industries like sports and, TV shows and movies at like these other industries.
That was hard for me because I was like, man, the industry really is beating up on artists. And Dame is like, Aaron, it's not that bad. And I'm like, but it could be better. When Dan broke it down, I was like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, but but it represents like what needs to be fixed, right? Now, not all artists are going to get to a point of making 50K a year just from Spotify, but if we can get more artists to just making 50K total, that's going to be a massive, massive benefit and a massive growth. So I also tried to look at how are artists going to how can we approach it in a way that's going to resonate with today's artists, right? Because most of them are going to be under the age of 30. They're going to be, have grown up in this era of that, like mobile phones, like they're our entire lives now. So I looked at like, how do mobile video games keep you coming back? How do they really give you, this incentive-based model that helps you get back on there every single day because it's giving you that dopamine hit. So we're trying to take a video game incentive components of setting goals, which I think is one of the biggest areas artists miss. They just don't set goals. They don't know what point B is. How can you get it from point A to point B if you don't even know what point B is? So it's going to set goals, daily, weekly, monthly actions in the form of like little things that artists need to be doing, just like posting to Instagram 3 times a week, over the course of a release. And all those little goals, they're going to accrue points. And then it's going to be based in a level format. Because I also noticed when working with artists, when you start to throw everything they need to be doing at them, get registered for BeatStars publishing, get all these different little things in order, it gets overwhelming fast. It's a lot. And most people have, regular jobs and like they're trying to figure it out, but that's a lot of work to get done. So my thought process was, what if we can build it in a way that just sprinkles everything in as they continue to grow? So we're not throwing it all at them at once. A lot of like different courses and like different like workshops and stuff, they try to just let's package it all in 2 days and then try to get, give them the information, but they also have to go and put that information into action. And that's another place where artists miss. So an artist that's just starting out in their career, level 0, let's say, that artist is going to be dropping their first song and they sign up for our app. It's going to give them goals like get your cover art together, set up your song for distribution, create content, assets, and just give you all the little things you need to do, but they're goals. And when you complete one, You come back to our app, all the bells, lights, whistles go off, and that's where you kind of get that dopamine hit. It hits the button, and that keeps you, hopefully, my belief is that will keep artists coming back, and then they just build out from there. So an artist, let's say, hits level 10, right? This is probably my most used example. One area where I think a lot of artists miss is print on demand merch, a service like Printful, because it costs nothing, like $0 to start using Printful, to set up a Shopify store. I think it's like $14 a month. And you don't have to purchase merch up front. All you do is design and market it. When one of your fans purchases a piece of merch, Printful prints and ships that for you directly to the fans. You can even include labels that are like stitched into the clothing. So you can customize that merch. You can use different brands, and it's pure profit. Now you're paying a couple of bucks more per product, but that's a really good example of a tool that artists just miss, because they're going to drop $1,000 up front on a merch order that they might not even sell. That makes no sense for an independent artist. So let's say an artist is, they've accrued all their points. There's also going to be certain criteria at a certain level, like 10,000 followers on average across social media, 10,000 followers on average across primary DSPs. When they've met the criteria, accrued all their points, level 10 opens up. That's where we open one tool integration. So just a Printful integration. Your next goal is to get merch rolling. So it just, as they grow, we kind of take them from 0 to 50 is the plan and the goal, taking them through every little piece of the industry, all these little things. By level 50, our goal is that they should be making at least $50,000 a year from their music. They're ready for more human partners. They're ready for more people to be involved in their career and possibly sign with the label. They'll have the leverage to be able to get a good deal. We plan to have a matching system, partnerships with pretty much every company in music that we possibly can that does good work, and then be able to, using all the data we've collected on their career up to that point, be able to make the recommendations for them directly to the companies, kind of match them and set up the call. And then from there, artists can continue to utilize the process within our application, or if they want to stay completely independent, they can still just keep using everything and keep going and building. It's all right there. And I looked at it, a big thing about this concept was I couldn't identify any more tools that really need to be built. Like everything is already existent, right? But nobody's built the toolbox and the instruction manual. And nobody's done it in a way that keeps artists coming back, that makes it easy for them. That's really what we're trying to do.
Phenomenal. Okay, so I know artists are probably like, they may be like that. Some people may be excited, but the gamification of your process, I feel like, is so much of a benefit that you can sell. The reason that people consistently log into Instagram is because you get a dopamine hit every time you see a notification, because a notification symbolizes that somebody is giving me attention or paying attention to something that I care about. And it could be something stupid, because I don't know if y'all remember when Instagram and Facebook first started, it used to only be da-da-da liked your picture or da-da-da commented. Then they started being like, there's 10 friends in your area. You should be friends with them. That's a notification. Or I don't know. There's so many dumb notifications, but they started realizing that, your prefrontal cortex, that basically is telling, like, it's your reward. It's part of your reward center that tells you that something is working. So Instagram tells your brain that it's working by rewarding you. So a lot of times artists won't even consistently post on Instagram because they're not getting enough likes and views, which is why Instagram offered the option to hide likes, because they started realizing that it would encourage people to post more. So you're essentially saying, hey, I'm giving you an online application that is going to reward you for actually doing rewarding work, things that are going to take your career off. And some people may say, oh yeah, I know to get my album artwork and stuff. Cool. After your album artwork and a few of those things, go ahead. Let the bells and whistles go off. I guarantee you, if you are somebody who is not making money, but you get on a process that helps you create a trajectory for yourself, you'll see the money happen. It's not rocket science. It's good business practice, right? And this is something that I say all the time. If you do anything consistently for 90 days, you'll see insane results. I'm challenging myself right now. I started January 25th. I have to do 3 things for 90 days. And if it doesn't work after 90, if I see absolutely zero growth after 90 days, then I give myself permission to let off. But if I even see a 10% growth over a 3 month period, then I have to stay going. Because 10% in 3 months means that I just have to do 30 months to see 100% growth. But the thing I know about growth is that acceleration continues to happen the more that you spend time on it, right?
Right.
So I know that that's what you're looking to do. We're about to take some questions, but I just want to tell y'all this. If you take to any manager, hey, I've made $50,000. It took me 2 years to get here, but I have now figured out how to make $50,000 off of my music across the last 2 years. I promise you'll be hard pressed to find a manager who's not at least interested in looking under the hood. Even I would do that. I'd be like, you don't have a manager, you don't have a team, but in 2 years you figured out how to make $50,000. Okay. So that's why
That
I think your app is fascinating.
it's because it's so, to me, I don't understand how anyone else hasn't seen this yet. That's really my point of view. I like, when I started to build this out, I'm like, how is no one else looking at it like this? Like, if you can just give them this process, and our mission statement is to create a more equitable and accessible music industry for all, because at that point artists can no longer complain that there's politics and gatekeepers and all these things that they use as an excuse to not put the work in, because at the end of the day, that's all you really have to do is figure it out and put the work in, and also make sure your sound is good. And like, if you know who your audience is, you know how to go get them. It just takes time. Most artists aren't willing to, they think my music's so great, I should just blow up tomorrow with no work or effort. Right. Like, I'm gonna post it to Instagram once, it'll be the most viral thing that ever happened. And TikTok's honestly like allowed a little bit of that, but it's just about putting that work in, knowing where you're going, and having that consistent process to continue to build it out.
Right.
That to me is just the biggest missing thing in this industry for artists. And I think if we can do that, we can really build a creator economy that's sustainable, and we can like help all these different, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter how many connections you have, because it's going to set you on that trajectory. From there, it's just on you to keep coming back and staying consistent and putting the work in. And that's why we're using that video game incentive component, because then you get that dopamine hit that's like, oh, hey, this is the reward center, like you said. So, that's our process. It's definitely been a journey up to this point. Everything we've done is organically built, and it's built in community. Like, a lot of these artists that are probably here today, I have relationships with, and I've just really myself I roadmap everything. So I plot those goals out at like a map would on a big whiteboard every single day. Like, I literally have my weekly goals, my monthly goals, my short-term goals, my long-term goals, my daily goals. Like, I know what I'm doing and where I'm going. I have a trajectory. Now, are things I have to pivot all the time. That's part of business, part of life. You have to be able to pivot, not let it stop you. Like, I face obstacles, challenges regularly. It's still a challenge, but it's what I'm most passionate about. And that's why I think at this point, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, because I'm working towards something actually fulfilling and something I truly care and love. And I'm building my own thing. And that to me is everything. But
see, this is why we have you here, Chene. The passion, you can tell, is real, and I love it. I read a tweet the other day that said, you don't work in the music industry if all of your hopes and plans aren't on a whiteboard. And I was like, that's us, because I have a giant one, right? And then I have a little one. So, and then it's like back and forth between the two. But yeah. Okay, so I want to hop on some of these questions, because I feel like the purpose of this is clarity. I also want to shout some people out, because I couldn't see the comments at first. My computer was lagging, but now I see them. So thank you, King Monday. You're coming from Nigeria. Bufo on the beat. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad that you're here. Apparently, you know Chene because you're shouting out great, beautiful things to him. Cloud9 says he needs management. Cloud9, this is what we're talking about, and we're about to get to your question. Thank you, Stay Golden. I just got my locks retwisted for the first time in 3 months. My loctician was on maternity leave, and it was rough out here. Okay. Before we answer your question, Cloud9, Icon on the beat, Icon Beats, are you still in the chat? I see you're dropping your beat link, and I have a question for you. So if you're still here, Icon Beats, I'm going to ask you a question. Oh, he got blocked. Oh, all right. Well, shout out to our moderator. He's doing great. I was just about to be like, tell me what you hope to get from this. And we were going to have a real live conversation, because I think it's asinine to spam people beats. First of all, I can't even click on this BeatStars link. Never mind. I'm not even going to get into this, but I wanted to have a teaching moment. But anyways, Cloud9, guys, we can, if y'all want to ask questions, go ahead and ask questions, and we're just gonna start answering them, and then we'll just trail off. But Cloud9 says, quick question: at what time in their process do beat makers need managers to improve their careers? So I'm going to give my answer, and then I'm going to let Shane give his answer. I don't believe that managers have a monolithic approach to it, but we all, I feel like, have somewhat of an understanding. In my opinion, you probably don't need a manager, you probably need a process. And the reason that I say that is because you're in the internet age, and a lot of times the things that, like, you can get placements from your house, right? Um, you can also find a manager who can get you placements, but managers who can typically get placements typically want a bigger percentage. It's a longer process. It's a whole thing. So if you don't have somebody who's in your circle who just super duper duper supports you, I wouldn't say, even with Payne, and Payne will talk about this. Payne has managers, but he self manages. He does all his own stuff until it's something that needs to be negotiated. Payne gets his own placements. Payne sets his rates, like all of those things. His management just negotiates bigger deals, or if there's some legal thing that is going on, his managers go back and forth. But he's a huge producer, does not have a day-to-day manager because he has a process. He has a very intricate schedule. He wakes up, he films content, he does X, Y, and Z, then he answers his emails. And he does. If y'all want to hear about Payne's process, tune into his lives on Thursdays, or you can join the MEC podcast. Every Monday we drop one. He talks about it, he hints at it, but if that's like, I can ask him to bring that up on our next podcast. But you probably don't need a manager. Again, you need a process. Even with all of my artists, the biggest thing that I bring is a process. I am a master strategist. I have some pretty good relationships, and I'm a good and effective communicator. But none of those things matter unless I had a process that my artists follow. So when they call me, yo, E, what do we need to do about this? I start, okay, so where are we at with this? Have you done this? Have you done that? I have dropped artists for not following the process. I am not the secret weapon. The secret weapon is consistency. So if you are not consistent, then I cannot work with you. So I would say you need a consistent process to follow that consistently levels you up. Once you have a certain amount of placements and a certain amount of things, you're either going to understand that the glass ceiling is not what you think it is, or you're going to really say, hey, I still want a manager, but now you have a proof of concept. And your proof of concept gives you the ability to now go out and get a manager. Hey, these are the successful placements that I've gotten. This is what I have going for me. Here's my conversion rate on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Here's how many beats I've sold on BeatStars.live. Here's who I've collaborated with. Here's my back catalog. When you have all of those things as a proverbial resume to give to somebody, then that's when you can get a manager. But until you have, again, too much stuff to manage, you don't need a manager. You need to fix your process so that people want to manage you. But Shane, go ahead.
No, you hit on so many key points there. Actually, so with the consistency thing, I have a super corny saying that I tell artists all the time. It's the 3 C's are the keys. So the 3 C's are, number one, cohesion. You have to have a very cohesive brand around your artistry. So that means if your name is something on Spotify, it should be exactly the same on every social media platform. Your handle should be exactly the same, very identifiable, very unique, personable to your specific brand, that I should not have to go searching on Instagram and like can't find you because your name is something totally different than what it is on everything else. Or if your name on TikTok is totally different, it should all match up and be the same. Cohesion in branding is so key because you want to make it just as easy as possible for anybody who's trying to become a fan, to find you as quickly and easily as possible wherever they're going to look. Number 2 is consistency. You just have to show up. That's 50%. If you show up every day, you're going to get there at some point. You're going to figure it out. And number 3 is connection, building your brand, building everything that you're doing around key elements that other people feel connected to, that other people feel relatable to. Like the 3 C's, if you follow those 3 things, you will very quickly see a difference in your growth, because they're just really helpful to an artist's career, really to any brand building a business. But I'm sorry, what was Claude's original question? At what time do beats? Okay, producers need
a producer need a manager. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to vary for every producer. It's going to change, right? There's no specific, okay, if you have X, Y, Z, you're ready for a manager. I mean, I would say profitability is a big one. Some placements, like Aaron said, proof of concept, those things are all super key. But really, I don't think I see this is why we're building this app, is because artists and producers and all these creatives in the music industry, the creator economy believes a manager is going to come in and be able to do something more for you. And that is the case sometimes when you have good relationships and you can help them figure out the process, but it's not the end all be all. It still comes back to you, the work you're putting in, the goals that you're setting, you're figuring out through that process. And it really, like, I can't express, like you said, the whiteboard thing, like, guys, get a whiteboard and write it all down. If you're able to visualize it, you're able to create a roadmap that will help you get so much farther. So I wouldn't say there's any specific time that you need a manager. I don't believe you truly need a manager at any point in your career. If you're able to do it yourself, figure it out. That's the thing. So, I would say profitability. When it's becoming too much work for you to handle on your own is when you need a manager. That's
Yep. And I can even say for some of the artists that I work with, a lot of them they'd be like, yo, E, you gotta manage me. And I'd be like, you don't need a manager. I'll book for you. I'll find brand partnerships for you. So again, and the reason I say this is because, like, I'll pitch you for sync. I don't want to do all of this day-to-day stuff. I don't care what your daily goals are. The fact is that you have them, and I can tell because I see the results, right?
Right.
I don't want to help you create those, and a lot of managers don't. If you come to me and say, I have nothing, but I'm willing to work, which is what my DMs are full of. I don't have anything, but I'll work. I'm cool with giving you 50 or 60%. 50% of nothing is still nothing.
Exactly.
And if I have to teach you how to create a business model, I am not just your manager anymore. I'm not even just your business partner. I'm also your college education, and that costs money. So that may sound sexy to you. You may think that you're appealing to somebody, but again, if I have all of the resources and you're telling me that you have good music, why not just go to somebody who has a little bit, they have some resources too, and they have good music. Good music is maybe 10% of it. Now, the rest of it, 90% of it is just the business. So if I know that I have the important component, but you haven't brought your important component, which is you having your business together, it's still too soon. Now, if you're like, hey, I just don't even know where to begin, or I kind of have these things going, that's what a consultation is. Take a consultation from somebody. You can look. Dane does, well, he used to. I don't think he does anymore. I do consultations. Shane does consultations. If you see a manager that you're really, like if you see a manager that you're like, man, I really like what they have going on, the odds are if you're willing to spend $100 to $150 for an hour with them, they're going to give you their time. One of my favorite managers in the world, her name is Key. She used to manage 21 Savage. Now she owns a label. I'm following her footsteps in a very similar way. Yeah, she's based in Atlanta. Key does consultations for $250. Of course, I jumped at the chance to do that. What? My favorite manager is like, yeah, I'm willing to sit down with you for an hour via Zoom or via a phone call and listen to you. Take those opportunities, give yourself some context and framework, go back, do the work, come back and get a consultation. If you want a more hands-on experience, you can join the Excellence Academy, which is my thing, which is twice a month, I get on calls with a group of people. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, BeatStars, MEC, come on. It's the match made in heaven, y'all. We're on here twice a week giving you tips. Then we do the podcast. Y'all really, there's so many opportunities to grow and learn. And I'm not saying this to berate anybody, but really with the expansiveness of the internet, you don't need a manager. Like, and I'm saying that as a manager, you need a good process.
And what's funny, you brought up a couple of points there. Number one, Aaron, like I learned everything that I know from sitting here and listening to Dame for so many years. Like truly, Dame is somebody I consider such a mentor and a role model. Like it was all the little gems. It wasn't any one session. It wasn't anything in specific. It was just for years I was listening to these narratives and things, and I had respected Dame well before I got connected to him. Going back to Funk Volume days, like he was always one of my role models. So I remember the day I got into the MEC when it was like this little private community of just one. I was tripping. I was so excited. And everything that I'm doing now and everything that I've learned, I learned here by attending this session every Monday. Straight up, that this is one of the keys. It's a free resource. If you guys aren't willing to show up here, which obviously all of these artists are, but if you're not willing to show up here on a consistent basis, why would anyone take you seriously or think that you're ever going to reach a point when you can't even show up to an hour-long session once a week? That's like, it's the easiest thing to do. And then at that, so I do offer consultations limitedly, but I honestly not a fan of the consultation method either, because my thing is like, I can sit down with you for an hour plus. And honestly, whenever anybody books an hour consultation with me, I tell them I will give you as much time as you need to figure it out. We will sit there and we'll put a plan together, but it's on you to go put that back into action. That's where I feel like artists just, they don't do that. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I do respect the process. And like, if you can get to an Aaron Knight, a Key Henderson, one of these really important, successful managers or people that are doing it themselves, and you're going to pay them money to sit down with them for an hour, take all of those gems, everything, put it, plan it, like go execute it, because then if not, you're just throwing your money away. Like, and then nobody's ever going to take you seriously. Like it is even more so a chance to get on their radar, a chance to build a relationship with them. That within itself is worth the money. Is like, your relationships are so key in this business. Like, you need to have, I'm super grateful for everybody that is in my network. I try to help people. I've learned the art of adding value and dot connecting. Just today, actually, one of my homies out of Atlanta, Ernest Ford, who's an A&R at Streamcut, he was needing help with something. I just tweeted back at him, offered the value. He texted me immediately, was so grateful. And that's an opportunity for me to add value and further a relationship with someone. Right?
Chene, that's why you're on here right now. Yo, I just gotta let y'all know, Chene, I don't know him from a fly on the wall until he was just constantly commenting on the MEC stuff, right? And I'm new to the MEC. So then he was like, he emailed me, or I don't know, DM'd me and was like, I have this really fascinating app. I want your feedback on it. So I'm like, bet. It took me forever. He hit me in busy season. He was so patient. And then when I responded, I got on a Zoom with him and he broke it down. I'm like, this is genius. But outside of his own app, Chene has consistently been like, hey, if you need help with this or if you need this, he was like, I'm not going to tell y'all what he did for me, because y'all going to try to DM him and be like, hey, Chene, can you do this? But Chene helped me move. Chene helped me get in touch with somebody who's a pretty big fish that I like. And he's gonna continue helping me do stuff, I know, but he has added value. And I think that that's such a major thing. People feel like just because you're not the biggest artist or the biggest person, you can add value. I have very small artists who will make graphics for me, and because of that, they get free advice from me on their projects or things that they'll get hooked up with resources. I have other artists who are mix engineers, but because they've helped me do something, I refer people directly to them. Hey, this is the person you want to mix your music, because I know their music is quality, but if you can add value, even if you're not, well, I don't know, Dame Dash, or none of this stuff matters. You don't know what I need. Start paying attention to what I have going on, and not just me, anybody you're trying to get at their attention, and start adding value where they are. So let's answer another question. Go ahead, Chene.
A couple of really quick points, because I definitely want to answer that question. But adding value, I believe, is an art form, right? Adding value is, I used to make the same mistakes. I get this DM all the time. Let me know if you ever need help with anything. I personally, I never understood up until a year and a half ago how busy people in this industry are, right? Once you get into the industry, you understand that my bandwidth is like zero. So I don't have time to figure out what you can help me with. You need to be able to, I stay patient until I have my opportunity. When I see something I know I can add value to, that's when I jump on it. Capitalizing on your opportunities, being able to identify them, and then just being a good person and doing good work, and, sharing your, opening your network or connecting dots for other people. It's just, once you start to practice it, you start to understand how that kind of goes, and that art, you'll see things really pick up, because once you help somebody once, they understand that you're real. And I never do any of those things out of if I don't mess with you, I don't mess with you. But if I do, my first thing is like, I go support you. Like everybody needs support. All these major brands, there are people behind those brands that need support because they're all working on their own projects, endeavors. And like the biggest thing you could do is just go engage. That means like, comment, share when it's relevant, like just show them love and support. And then eventually the door is going to open. That's another thing is like patience. Artists don't have any patience. Like it does take time. It takes a lot of time. But once like I'm still getting caught like imposter syndrome and like these things when people are coming to me like, yeah, you're like this massive industry person. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like I'm still like just building this out of my bedroom. Like I don't, it's just that I built a lot of great relationships. I know how to plant seeds. I also understand that not everything in music works out. So I never take it personal. People are busy. Like if somebody like doesn't hit me back right away, so what? They'll hit me back eventually or they won't. I'll follow up. And if they still don't, that's okay too. It takes time. It just, you gotta like, that is like a sense of entitlement with artists. And it's like, and business, like industry people that they think they're entitled to somebody's time and you're not. Like I'm not entitled to be to your time, Aaron, or anyone else's. I have to understand that you have your own life schedule, things like that. And, you know, it could be 2 weeks, it could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be longer than that it takes to get to you. But I know if I stay patient, I am just a good person doing good work, eventually the door is going to open, right? And if I know that I really mess with that person, the work they do, I can be as patient, like, it doesn't matter if it takes me 5 years. Eventually, I'm going to get to that person. And I showed myself, I really like took this from zero to, I don't want to say 100 because we're not there yet, but I've taken it this far just by being patient. It's only been not even 2 years since I started this entire thing, and it's like I'm seeing the results are incredible. Like it's shocking to me when there are senior vice presidents of A&R at different record labels that know who I am, and I'm like, how do you know who I like? That's crazy because I've just stayed consistent. I show up every day. I put the work in, and I don't ever get offended or like take it personal when somebody like I've had people cancel meetings. I had somebody a couple of weeks ago that I was connecting with somebody at a major label who I really love the work that they do. They reached out to me and then they had to reschedule the meeting because like an hour before because their apartment had an issue. It was like getting fumigated unexpectedly or something. I said, no problem. We'll same time next week, lock that in. Now her and I have an awesome relationship. Like it just I didn't take it personal. I didn't get mad. Like that's where artists just they think it's like people owe them something and they don't. No one owes you anything. But where can we learn about this process? Hopefully we will be funded very, very soon.
No. Don't say that. Don't say that. We're not. Chene is about to be funded, but he is in the pre-beta testing, right?
Yes.
So if you want to learn about Chene's process, Chene, what email can they email? Don't, you know what I'm saying? That give them your email. Let's start your funnel right away. Like y'all, he's in the process of getting funding. He just closed on a huge investor last week. You know, so again, Chene is a brand new to this part of it, but he's been putting in the work, which is another reason why I wanted him to come on here, because I want y'all to know that everybody hasn't already made it. Chene is in the process of making it, and we're gonna bring him back on in a year or two, and y'all are gonna be like, "Oh, that's that same dude. He did this thing." So yeah, Shane's the one you want to know.
Market by then, and you'll all
Yeah,
be on using it.
it's gonna be amazing. I'll be an investor by then. I'll be rich off of the idea with it because I'm sitting here as free promo. BeatStars is supporting it. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm joking. Chene can do his own thing. But Chene, what is the email they can email, or is there a landing page that they can give you their emails?
Yeah, I dropped it in the chat. It's info@libmgmt.io if you have something to reach out about. We're also very responsive to DMs. I mean, we get a ton, and sometimes it takes time to get back to them. Luckily, we just hired 6 interns, and they're going to be helping with our socials. I was on last week for any of you that were here. We're launching a proof of concept program, and essentially we're going to be crash coursing artists through this model in Discord. We're calling it Proof, and applications closed on that on Saturday, but I was here. I tapped in for about 15 to 20 minutes with Dame to discuss that. And I hope, you know, I really wanted to see a bunch of artists. We got so many applications. Like it was incredible to see that many people. It's going to hurt me because a lot of them are friends and I can't tell everyone yes. You know, we only have so many slots, but it's business.
But all those slots get on the waiting list for your next demo, right? Go ahead and still DM him, be like, yo, I heard I missed it, but I want to be a slot for the next demo. Give him your email address, okay? Because you don't want to miss out on this, because I'm telling you, this is not gas. There are plenty of apps that fail in this industry. There are plenty of things that are good ideas that even fail. If this idea fails, Chene is gonna win. You heard it first, okay? So tap in with Chene and LIB Management because y'all see the passion he's speaking with, y'all see the understanding. Yeah, we do need Chene on Shark Tank. Exactly. I'm missing some of y'all's comments on the screen. That's why y'all keep seeing me look down because I'm looking at my phone at the comments on the Twitch. So thank you guys for all of the encouragement. But there's a couple more questions, Chene, I want to get to. We got about 12 more minutes, and I feel like they're about to start running playback. Normally, I would run over, but I just don't want to catch the noise.
You're good.
I'm seeing the link. I am not seeing the link in the chat. I don't see it either, Chene. If you can,
It
and
was, yeah, it was just, I can also drop our link tree. Also, guys, oh, that's why it's blocking it, but I'll drop our link tree as well. If you guys just DM a big thing, like if you want to start building with me, send me your Audio Mac link. Do not send me a Spotify link. Do not send me a hyper URL. We are an Audio Mac verified tastemaker, which means essentially we are like a Spotify editorial, except on Audio Mac. That's in our bio. So if, you know, I get like random links to different platforms, it's like, it's right there in our bio. So send us an Audio Mac link in specific, pitch us for your music, you know, tell us something about yourself. And I like
and
chances
follow,
are,
listen, follow the page. Chene just basically told you he's an Audio Mac curator. If you missed this, go follow his page. He may not put your first song on the playlist, but if you send him a new song every other week, don't spam this man. But if you're like, hey, Chene, I saw you did this, this, and this. I realized that you work with this artist. I think you'll like this song. Or, hey, Chene, this came from a place in my heart that I really believe in. I would love for you to check it out. Don't be a weirdo. Don't just spam him links. But if you're a real person, he's going to be excited to meet you and get to know you.
That's just great advice to anyone you're trying to connect with, right? Take the time to learn about a platform's like, what do they do? How can you send them something that they'll respond to? Because if I get a hyper URL and then it's like, or, you know, a smart link to all of the DSPs, but there's no Audio Mac in there, it's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to go looking for you or take that. Like, you got to be responsible to do that yourself. I did see a couple of questions. Really, Be Nice asked what the difference between short and long-term goals is. For me personally, short-term goals are 3 to 6 months. Long-term goals are 1 to 3 years. I do have some like life goals that are like 5+ years. Like I want to get my MBA. There's different things I want to do in life, but they're not really music related or part of my like career path trajectory. I try to focus on, if you just focus on the goals today, those are going to help you complete your goals for the week. Those are going to help you complete your goals for the month. Then it's going to help you complete those short-term goals and eventually those long-term goals that should be the big goals, where that's having the knowledge of how to get from point A to point B. You have to know what point B is first, because you can't get, it's like, how can you drive to a specific destination if you don't know what the destination is? You have to build a roadmap. Also, somebody asked about
let me answer the goal question though too, because I feel like people get really bummed out about goals. So my short-term goals are weekly. I do 2 weekly goals now, and I have to complete those 2 goals or they roll over. And if they roll over a third time, then there's a monetary penalty that I have to pay, right? So they don't roll over. And then my long-term goals are no longer than 1 year. Most of my long-term goals are 90 days. What most people are like, and this and this, and in 5 years, where do you see? I don't know. I do not have a 5-year goal. I'm not that ambitious. Shout out to people like Chene. I have 1 week goals and 90-day goals at max typically. And occasionally I'll say by the end of this year, I want these 3 things to happen. But I know none of those matter if I don't build on the 1 week and the 3-month goal. So that's just to encourage somebody. If you don't have this grandiose plan, it's the motion. You just got to get in motion, and you got to create a habit of getting in motion. So even for me, the weekly plans is a brand new habit because I started really I would have 3-month plans, and I get to the end of the 3 months and I had 12 goals and I made like 8, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'm like, no, I could do better. I could set less goals and work harder at them, and then that would increase that. So okay, go. What was the next question you were going to answer?
Somebody just asked what the shirt was about. Shout out to the Michigan Music Alliance. They said I just got this last night, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rock their shirt because I also do support Michigan music. I'm from Detroit originally, and yeah, I'm gonna be a part of their educational committee. They're doing some really cool stuff for the state, so that's that.
There's one more question I saw that I want to and I'm sorry, y'all. Again, I can't see all the comments on screen, but I'm reading some of them on here. So if your question didn't get answered, ask it again, and we'll try to hit you. But MIJCJCJ said, "How do you feel about artists setting up LLCs?" Okay,
super important. Do that.
Do it. My management career started by me telling an artist to set up an LLC so that they could write off their instruments and all that so that they could afford to pay for merch. Before I knew anything about the music industry, I knew about business. And I'm like, yeah, so set up an LLC because, and then if you're like me, once you have several, some of them you can transition to like S Corps, or you can, I just learned about this. Waka Flocka is a genius. You can transfer it to actually being a trust that's supported by an S Corp or a C Corp that pays out dividends. Really genius. But if you, as an artist, start thinking of yourself as a business, you'll start to make money. Because imagine owning a business that's not profitable. You're not going to call it a business, it's a hobby. The moment you invest that money to set up an LLC, in my head, you start taking it more serious. Then there's write-offs that you get that you wouldn't get on your personal taxes. There's so many literally just financial benefits to having an LLC, because every time you purchase a beat, a consultation, pay for a tutorial, your phone bill, you buy a new computer, you go out to lunch and you discuss business, 50% of your lunch is now a write-off. So literally, I have a friend who's a DJ, and sometimes if he wants to take himself to a nice lunch, and this is real because in the world, this is how Donald Trump doesn't pay any taxes. He will call me and be like, hey, do you have any shows coming up that you want me to be a part of? And I'll be like, no, I would have texted you about it. He's like, that's cool. I'm just at lunch. I want to make sure I can write this off. I'm like, okay, bet. So boom, now he can write it off because he had a business discussion. I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but you can do it. It's real. Welcome to America, y'all. If you're looking for the way that people succeed and prosper, it's by understanding the rules. That's all you have to do. So 100% set up an LLC. Like in the state of Georgia, it only costs $100. And then for your business license, I think it's $50, which you don't have to have a business license if you have a digital business, if you're not selling a product. But yeah, y'all, it's not that complicated. Don't do LegalZoom. I'll tell you, it's going to cost you way more. It's a really easy process to just set it up on your with your what is it called? State. I don't know. They're sending me the emails to renew mine right now. But
your state filing. Here in Michigan, it's called Lara, and it costs $45. Like, I honestly, when I set up the LLC for LIB MGMT, I did no clue how easy it was. Like, a friend of mine, wife is a paralegal at a law firm, and she sent me all the info, and I was like, okay, how much to have you guys valid? She's like, dude, this takes 10 minutes and it's $45. And I was like, oh, wait, for real? She's like, yeah, if you have us file, it's like $5,000. Don't do that. And I was like, bet. And I went to the site, and I was like nervous. I was like, oh God, I don't know how to do this. And it took me.
You just answer the questions. They give you the questions.
It was so easy. What is your name you want for the business? And it came back like 2 days later, and that was it. And I was like, that's it. That was it. Like, that's so easy. So
if you do it on LegalZoom, they're going to charge you $400, then your state filing fee. Then they're going to be like, it's normally going to take 10 to 14 weeks, but we can expedite it in 2 weeks. I made the mistake of doing that the first couple of LLCs. Then I found out the whole thing, even an EIN number is free. For you to have a tax number, it's free. The American government gets it out. They want everybody to be paying taxes. What are you talking about? It's free. They will charge you for that to acquire an EIN number. So again, sorry, not to harp on this, but 100%, 100%. If you do anything in the music industry, set up an LLC, get your write-offs, get your money back. What? That's a benefit from your taxes. Did somebody else ask a question? We could
I
probably
was
take one or
double
two
check.
more questions.
Send artist song if I get permission. You guys can absolutely send us music. Like I said, Audio Mac links only, because that's where we curate music as a verified tastemaker. If we add your song to our playlist, not only do you get an increased chance to hit trending on Audio Mac, but you'll actually get an email from Audio Mac that says your song has been added to this verified tastemaker playlist. Our verified tastemakers select the best breaking music on the platform. Honestly, that was a really big thing for us when we started the playlist. It was just literally a way for us to have something of value to offer to artists so we could start building the brand. And it took us 8 weeks of staying consistent for Audio Mac to give us that tastemaker badge. And we were just showing a lot of support. And Master Z.
Only 8 weeks.
Only
8 weeks.
Shout out to Master Z. First thing he ever said to me in my response, I put together this whole pitch. It had a long email, and he's like, Chene, I see your support on social media. It is truly appreciated, and we're grateful. We've given you the tastemaker badge. We put you in the curator's badge. It was like nothing. It was so easy. And now I have such a great relationship with the Audio Mac because I stayed consistent. That was my first strategic movement for the company. I can send anything I want over to them for trending consideration, verification, ask for editorial support. I limit that really heavily because I know I don't want to over ask them, but I do it for a lot of different artists, especially when I really believe in an artist or I want to get them rolling on Audio Mac. They always hit me back right away, done. And then I just had an artist release his first song who was a part of our upcoming program. He released it 10 days ago on Audio Mac. He hit 7,000 streams in the first week, by getting into trending on his first release ever. It was super simple and easy. So about the entire process, a new beat.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you this. And then again, Chene dropped his info, so you can DM him because he has a process that he has initiated. It's closed right now for applications, but he's accepting new people. So go ahead, DM Chene your email, Chene, and then make sure that I would drop your @ in the chat also, Chene, so people can find y'all. But Dark Sagon, I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong. I'm going to tell you this, there is no one process that works for everybody. If an artist came to me today and said, I made $100,000 in the last 3 months and I want your help, and then they came to Chene and did the same thing, and then they came to Dame and did the same thing, all three of us would take them through a completely different process. The process is about your style as a person, what your goals are, which is what we were talking about, goals, and what you define as success. So I know people who are like, success to me equals selling 3 beats a month. I know other people who say success to me equals growing to 1,000 Instagram followers, or, so I would define success. And again, on a micro and a macro level, if you're just like, I'm trying to make a full-time living off of music and I want to be a millionaire and I want to have 1 million followers and be verified on Instagram, all of those things are superfluous things that don't lead to an actual that you so in order to win, you have to reverse engineer the ending. So if you want to cross the finish line as number 1, you have to run every day if you're Usain Bolt. But not only do you have to run every day, you have to make sure your fast twitch muscles are in great shape. You have to hone in on all of these things. So the goal isn't, I want to cross the finish line at the Olympics. The goal is, I want to improve my running form, and I want to get better at I want to win in Jamaica. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I would say your process is determined by your end goals. Your end goals should be determined by how much work you're willing to put in. And so if you have not sold, you said you're a brand new beat maker. If you haven't sold 1 beat yet, maybe that's your first goal. Your first goal is, I want to sell 1 beat. How do you sell a beat? You raise awareness. How do you raise awareness? Social media. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, check out my beats. I'm going to let you talk, Chene, but there's a producer who I met. I'm going to find him right now because I follow him. I met him on my first MEC Live that I hosted. His name is PJME Beats, I think, or PMJ Beats, PME.JIB Beats. He has 731 people following him, y'all. So he's not a big artist, right? He's not a big artist. He released a song and it got 186 streams across like a week, and he was hyped, y'all. So I'm letting y'all know this is not a big producer, but I'm a huge fan of him now because what he does, he's also a graphic designer. I'm about to show y'all this. Y'all got it. His name is PME.JIB. Please go follow him because he's really doing. Last year he had 4,000 streams on Spotify for the entire year. So I'm telling y'all, it's not about being the biggest artist. He's a graphic designer, so every week he would produce at least 3 beats, and he would put a design behind each of his beats and then post it so you can listen to it, right? So
That's
trying to see if y'all
strategic.
can see this. You can't. Okay, so this is one of my favorites right here. You
Now
can't,
you
like,
can
the lighting is not doing. So he made
lie.
this, right? And that's his logo right there in the corner.
Oh,
Dang. Okay,
but
that's his logo right there in the corner. So he adds it to every one of his beats, and then he has a really cool tag. Like, I started following him because I work with a couple of different companies to do micro syncs. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's only 200 or $300 to get my beat in this song." But artists like him are like, "What? You're gonna give me $200 for a beat?" So he started raising awareness by, like, he just, I don't know, he started raising awareness for himself by posting these really great videos with just his graphic design, that he's just creating graphics. He'll carry a theme on for a month and then he'll just switch up the theme, right? So another thing, Dame and I were talking about Dame and Payne on our last podcast, of saying Dame is like, I'm into dogs. You should hit up a dog page and be like, "Hey, I make beats. I made a beat from this dog that was barking on your page that I really liked. Here's a beat that I made from that. If you ever need beats on your page, I'm more than willing to do it." But what you could do, even if they're like, "We don't care about beats, we're a dog page," now just start making dog edits. If you like dogs, make edits and put those in your story. Do you know the most shared video on YouTube up until I think 2012 was a dog video? It was like just a loop of these cute little dogs running. You know what I'm saying? ASMR is super big. Maybe you remix an ASMR song and you hear a woman talking and she's like, maybe make it, or maybe you do one of those nails, the ASMR nails. Maybe you take that and you turn it into a beat and then you respond under her YouTube, "Hey, I made an ASMR of you tapping your nails." Like, y'all got to get creative. The process only matters when you understand the outcome that you're looking to achieve. And then once you have the outcome, you create your own process. I, as a Black woman, will 100% have a different process than Shane because the world works differently for me. So you have to work to your strengths. You have to understand the industry. You have to look for education. And then you just have to work in the direction that you feel like is best for you. So that's my 52 cents. Shane, I'm going to let you answer this. And then if somebody else has one more question, we'll let y'all ask one more question.
really quick to what you were just talking about. There's an app all of you guys can use that is, I think, $10 a year that I use regularly. If you go to our page on Instagram at LIB MGMT, you're going to see all of our dope drop posts, which are just animated cover art. And I use an app called Motion Leap. It costs, like I said, $10 for the entire year. I think it is. It might be 20, but still, that's very affordable. And you can use the beat loop option that will actually make your cover art like hit on a beat. It hits on your 808s and it makes a really cool, yes, and it's one of the most useful apps that's super affordable. And it's like, they also have a bunch of other options. Motion Leap. It's called Motion Leap. They have an entire creativity package for 4 different apps that they offer. I only use Motion Leap, but there's so many different tools that they offer that you can use. So just search Motion Leap in the App Store. You'll find it, and just use the beat loop option where you can upload. Typically, I use Canva first, put the beat or song over the cover art. Then I take it and put it into Motion Leap to add that effect, to make it hit on the beat. And it's amazing, and it's so easy, and it's affordable. Great marketing tactic. Also, going back to what you said about the goals right there, Aaron, I can't tell you how many times I've asked an artist, "What are your goals?" And they respond to me with, "I want to be Drake." And I say, "That's cool, me too." But that's not a goal. That is a wish, a pipe dream. That's not how you get to the point of being Drake. The point of, like, the first step to getting to become Drake is gain one fan, have one person listen to your music. build, release one song, create something and put it into the world. That's step one. And that should be your goal, not becoming Drake. That's not realistic for anyone. At the end of the day, there's only one Drake. There will only ever be one Drake. If you ever reach the same status or heights that Drake reaches, you're going to be your own artist, right? You're not going to be Drake. So that's not a realistic way. Like, we all want to be Drake. Drake lives an amazing life, of course, but set your
I don't
goals.
want to be Drake, but y'all got it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But you know what I'm saying here. Like, set your goals for what can you actually accomplish today and tomorrow and the day after that. Move the needle one day at a time. Don't make it overcomplicated, one foot in front of the other. Just take little baby steps. You'll start to see it grow, snowball, and you will get there. As long as you stay patient, you stay consistent. We all have bad days. Show up on the bad days, and you will have, like, you'll get there, period. That's just the case. And the artists that do that are the ones that become the Drakes of the world, that become
100%.
successful. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything. Do we have one more question? I think
that was it. Dark Sagan said that that he does graphic digital art, so this is what he needed to hear. So thank you for tapping in and asking. I think that's dope, and I think that that's what a lot of people just need, the creative spark. So I think there's so many cool things. If you can make graphics, you have a leg up on most people. So I would just start digging in, figuring out how to make things just like look really cool. People don't care whose music it is if something looks amazing, right? So if it looks amazing, they're like, dang, this is fire. And then if it sounds amazing, then they're like, yo, who is this? So even when you're posting reels, make sure you change your original audio. So it says Dark Saigon beat 5.
Yes.
And then put the title, right? So beat 5, when we go to your BeatStars store, that needs to be the 5th beat on your BeatStars store. It also needs to be titled the same. Chene talked about that, like how everything needs to be congruent. Even lastly, when he said one fan a day, Key Henderson, again, one of my favorite managers, that's her company's policy. They're a management firm and a label. And she said that our goal is every single day to get one fan a day. If we look 30 days and our fan and our artists haven't grown by 30 fans, we've done something wrong. And people think that that's so simple. It's way harder than it looks, but also way easier than it looks. And this isn't an additional person to follow you or like you on Instagram. That's going to happen. But one fan a day is somebody who's engaged with you. If you don't have anybody engaged with you right now, your goal should be one fan. One fan, right? I think I may be PJ's 5th fan, right? Because he doesn't have crazy engagement, but he's persistent. And I know that's going to lead to something because I want him to win now too. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to figure it out. But let's see, tried so many times to get in touch with Key. Facts. Well, you got to look in. This is the way to get in touch with Key too. You got to have something that she wants. She occasionally will drop a link to her Calendly so you can schedule time with her. And it's usually like $250 an hour, but it's worth it. Do you know what I'm saying? But also, if you ever are in Atlanta, Key goes places. The first time I met Key, she was DJing at this place called Rocksteady, which is a little Jamaican spot. And I pulled up on her and I stayed the entire night. And then when she was drunk and heading home, I'm like, hey, Key, I'm Aaron. I'm a huge fan. I'm also a manager. I don't have anything to say to you or give to you. I just want you to have my adoration. This woman literally said, hey, here's my phone number. I was like, yeah, I got your super phone. She's like, no, here's my real phone number. Now, it could have been because she was lit, but I'm saying Key is an accessible person. You just have to watch her. And I'm not saying that as somebody who has her phone number because I've never used it. It's not like we talk. I still pay the going rate to meet with her. But yeah, really a fan a day does seem actually kind of hard. Okay, so Alice, I'm glad that you said that. So then if you feel like a fan a day is too much, say a fan a week, but you got to set a goal. So my goal is more along those lines. My goal is to grow in awareness weekly. So I want 5 more people every week to be more aware of me, right? So like during this live, my phone has been blown up with Instagram followers, right? So then the way that I support that now is I got to go post an Instagram video, right? And then from there, I repost MEC stuff. And then from there, I post about the Excellence Academy. And now my real goal is to grow the Excellence Academy to where more people want to get in on this. So figure out what your goal is. If a fan a week is hard, it's like, what is your actual goal? How can I grow to that? And just create an ecosystem for yourself. The like we said, the plan and the process is really dependent on your goals.
I have a really good tip here for Alice. Go figure out who's one of your biggest influences, or who's an artist very similar to you that is already successful. Go to their Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, and go start engaging with those fans in her comments or in his comments or in their comments. Like, and if they're similar to you in sound, that's your target audience, and they're right there. All you have to do is take the time to put the work in to engage with them. Once they're going to click on your profile, the first post should always have music. You should always be giving a sample right off the bat. Give them something to listen to. Like, I think it was Sam Grande. I did a clubhouse session with Dame about a year ago with Sam. He manages like Young Pinch and Guap Dad, and he said he sent Young Pinch to go do that. He was commenting under all of these similar artists, and that's how they built out the core of his audience, was just having them respond and engage and getting them say something. Don't spam them. Don't just spam them.
And responding is not spamming your beats. Yeah. Don't even mention your music at all.
Have an authentic conversation of, I guarantee you they're going to click on your profile. That's where you can have your music.
Be a human.
Yes, be a human, be authentic, understand that everyone else, like, spamming, like the dude that came in earlier, just trying to drop links to his beats. Like, was anybody ever going to respond? No, it just made everybody mad and you got kicked out. So don't ever spam people. Just be very authentic. Take your time, engage, be patient, be persistent. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. It's a difficult industry to break into. Doing these things is hard because it's a lot of work, and there aren't enough. There's a lot of like educational resources and stuff out there, but it's really just get active, get working, get engaged, get persistent. Like, if you're not down to struggle for an extended period of time, you don't really want it that bad. So it's not about long-term, like
it's a struggle regardless though, Shane.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a struggle, like forever. Like, it's a hard industry. It's really difficult. I do want to take the time to thank BeatStars and you, Aaron, for letting me come out and talk about what we're building and working on. I've put the last 2 years of my life into trying to get this company off the ground. And, I've had so many times where I could have said, oh, I can't do this anymore. I quit. Yet I'm still here today. I have a ton of work to do today, but Aaron texted me and I knew this was an opportunity for me to continue building our brand. And I took it, and I was so excited because for me, it's graduation day. I learned everything that not everything, but I learned so much from being here and just showing up week in, week out, engaging in the chat. Like, a shout out to all the homies that showed up. My guy Josh from Trending Raps was in here for a while. Bufo, Cloud9, Michael Finn, all of you guys are amazing. Like, I think we're almost out of time, and I got to jump here in a second, but I'm super honored.
Yeah, I did too. Thank you, Shane. Shane, drop one more time. Drop your @ in the chat. Yep. And you can just tell people. I should have told you to put it on the screen so it could help, but drop your @ in the chat. Y'all check out Shane. His new app is in beta. The pre-beta is closed that they're doing on Discord, but go ahead and hit his DM. Give him your email address. You want to be a part of this app. They're going to have amazing opportunities. They have already developed some incredible partners that are going to give so many things, so many benefits to the artists who start on this in beta. And then just remember, your process is your process, but you need a process. So if you got anything from this, you need a process. Thank you, Shane, for being on here. I am Aaron Knight from the MEC. You can check out our BeatStars lives every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern or Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm the first Monday of every month. Hopefully this year we'll be rolling out some more things with me and BeatStars. I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be here. And also, last but not least, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug the Excellence Academy. If you can't afford a manager, but you're looking for a little bit more than just the MEC free sessions, twice a month, I do live coaching with a group called the Excellence Academy, and we're just learning how to be excellent. We just started our 90-day push last Tuesday. So in 90 days, you're going to see a ton of success stories. But if you want to check it out, the link is in my bio at The Aaron Effect, or you can go to the excellenceacademy.biz. But that's all I got to talk about today. If you want to know when we go live on the MEC, you can text MEC to 844-206-780. We will not spam you. We're just going to be like, yo, hey, we're live. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys so much. Thank you, RTP. Thank you, Dark Sagan. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys win. Dark Sagan, definitely want to see what you do with your beats. So make sure you guys tune in next week. Make sure you check out the podcast. We'll see you next time.
Peace, guys.